Welcome to Lessons Learned by Unica. Today we got a good one for you. Now, this one today is addressed to real estate agents, or as someone called realtors, those who are members of the NAR. Realtors, are you in a slump or went through 2024 and feel like you just did not do what you had planned to do at the beginning of the year? Maybe you did not even close one deal. Or if you normally close 20 deals, maybe you barely closed 5. Or maybe you're stuck at closing 50 and you want to reach 100 deals. Well, you have come to the right place. Because today we are going to be talking about how you real estate agents can close 100 real estate transactions in 12 months the easy way. So join with us today. We're going to know how we're going to close 100 deals in 12 months the easy way. And I'm using kind of a slide presentation here, but I have written this one out. Kind of a blackboard animation kind of a thing. All right, so if you can follow along with me, stay to the end. Remember to like, subscribe. I'm going to tell you, you got some good stuff here. Again, we're going to learn how to close 100 deals the easy way. And trust, if you can close 100 with this math, you definitely can do, if you're just starting out, you can do 20, you can do 30, or maybe you want to seek out and do 100. Just because you're just starting don't mean you can't do it. But you just got to follow the math that I'm going to give you, okay? If you can crack the code and follow this math, then you can also close 100 deals. So just because you're a new person, don't think that this is not for you. Okay? Let's just figure out what the math is and follow it. All right? So here we go. What is the answer to getting 100 deals? Did y'all catch it? Yes, it is a math problem. It is a simple math problem. And I'm going to show that to you today. So again, stay to the end because you are going to learn about the math today. All right. So follow the math and you will succeed. Follow the math, real estate agents, and you will succeed. So today we're going to talk about the 5 easy steps that it takes to close 100 deals. To close 100 deals the easy way. Again, 5 steps. Now I'm going to ask y'all a question. Do you have your pen and paper? Do you have your pen and paper? Or do you have your phone so that you can screenshot? I'm not sure if you're watching this on your computer or on your laptop, but you're probably going to need your phone so you can snapshot. Okay? Because I'm going to turn my phone horizontally when I get to the math, okay? I'm going to prepare you for that, all right? But if you want to take notes, take this time to take notes, all right? All right, we said there are 5 easy steps. Are you ready? Let's go. Step 1 is to build your database. Nope, you're not going to get around that. You need to build your database. Any successful business knows that their database is their book of business. The database is your book of business. And without a database, you're simply out of business. Did you know that? If you were going to sell your business some 10, 15, 20 years down the line, do you know that that has value? If you have a database, the database is what's of value. The database is what the consumer is going to buy from you. You see? Yes, you need a database. Without having clients and customers is bringing business, then what good is the business? You need a database. So we're not getting around that, all right? So step 1 is to build your database. Well, what goes into your database? Or should I say who goes to your database? First, you want to have your sphere of influence. Well, who are your sphere of influence? These are the people that know you by your first name. So let's say that if I were to call them and I was to mention your name, that person would know you. These might be your close friends, your family, your neighbors, your close neighbors that know you well. Okay. It might even be some of your close coworkers if you're close to them. But again, those are called your friends, right? Then you also have your service providers. As I mentioned, your friends, family, neighbors, coworkers. You also have your service providers. Well, who are your service providers? Well, these are the ones that you pay. You pay your nail salon, you pay your barber, right? Who do you give business to? What restaurant do you go to a lot that knows you by your first name, right? Who? What accountant do you use that knows you by your first name, right? Who? Who knows you by your first name that you give your business to, that you pay? All right. Also, what can be added there are your vendor partners. Real estate agents, we often deal with home inspectors, appraisers, lenders, title companies, environmental specialists, insurance companies. These are all people who are your vendor partners. That even could extend to an electrician, right? Because we refer those out too for certain types of houses, right? Plumbers, HVAC technician. See, all of these ones can be added. And it goes on and on and on in terms of that sphere of influence, okay? Build that list out as much as you possibly can. Now, number 2 that can go into your database are your past clients, all right? These are ones whom you have closed with before. Now, I know, okay, you haven't talked to them in 5 years. You haven't talked to them in 10 years. Okay, it's time to look them up on Facebook. It's time to look them up on Facebook and let them know, that you apologize. It's been so long that you have talked with them and that you're going to do a better job at staying in contact with them. Find out what's going on with them. Don't call them talking about when you plan on moving. No. Get connected with these ones. Find out what's going on with them, right? And then see if you can stay connected with them going forward, you see? And maybe they will give you, because see, when you're building this database, you want to get the person's name. You want to have their email address. You want to have their phone number. Okay, so keep that in mind, because just because they're your friend, family, or neighbor, sometimes we don't have the most updated information. I can't tell you how many people in my phone book that I have 5 different numbers for, because people update their phone numbers. But if you have not called recently, then you got the one that was back 3 years ago. Okay, so it's time to call folks. That's another good reason to call them, to make sure you got the updated information, right? So now here we go. So we talked about having your sphere of influence in this database, your past clients. Well, what about your current clients? Sometimes current clients can be considered people who know you depending on who that current client is. If it is repeat business, then of course they know you, right? If it is a new referral, sometimes they do not know you because they just met you, right? They went from a not met to being a met. So they don't really know you like that. They just using you because somebody referred you. But that particular person, the person who referred you is warm, but the person who they referred you to does not quite know you completely yet. They just met you. So that's why I don't really have current client here, because of the fact that it's not always warm. Okay. And then next are your leads and prospects. Now that's where that person's going to go, because that is considered a lead. So when we get a referral and they consider a lead, they are a prospect, right? And normally, a lot of times, the leads and prospects do not know us if they're not repeat business. So they're considered cold, okay? So your sphere of influence and your past clients, those are warm leads. Your leads and your prospects, and when I say leads, I'm talking about, you might get a lead from Zillow. You might get a lead from Realtor.com or Realtor.org. You might get a lead from doing FSBOs or doing expireds, okay? Those are leads, okay? But those people do not know you. Those people may not like you, and they may not even trust you yet, right? So they don't know you. So they're cold leads. So keep that in mind. Again, so we talk about the math. You got to understand the difference between the two of these. Your sphere of influence, I'm going to repeat myself, your sphere of influence and your past clients are your warm leads or your warm prospects. Let's call them warm prospects. But your leads that come in through Zillow, the leads that come in through Realtor.com, your expireds, your FISBOs, these are cold. If you just met them in the street, they're cold. They don't know you. Okay? So just understand how that works. All right? Now, step 2 is to house, once you've built that list all the way out. You don't want to just have a piece of paper, people. My fellow realtors, please. If somebody give you a referral, don't put it on a piece of paper and then stick it in your purse and forget where it is, or stick it in your wallet and don't know what you did with it. You know, put it into a customer relationship management platform called a CRM. Now, if you are new and you're not familiar with different types of CRMs, I'm going to give you some names here. Now, let's say you don't have any money, but yet you need to house it somewhere. But then you can put it on the Microsoft spreadsheet. You can put it on a Google sheet. Okay? All right? A lot of people are putting them on Google Sheets these days, right? If you just don't have the money, make up a micro Word document. I mean, whatever you need to do, but the Google Sheets have been good. Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, you can plug it on there, depending on what you're going to put on there. If you want numbers and calculations and currency to go on there, then Microsoft might be a good one. All right. Now, what are some other platforms, if you do have a little change, that you can put towards your CRM? I myself have been using Buffini Referral Maker. I've been using them for about 10 years or more, maybe longer than that. All right. And so Buffini Referral Maker CRM, that's one of them. Another one, if you don't want that one, is Wise Agent. There's Lion Desk. And for those who maybe your broker is paying for an expanded one for you, KV Core is another one. Our broker pays for ours for KV Core also. We have KV Core in our office as well. So again, you got Microsoft Excel, you got Google Sheets, you got Buffini Referral Maker CRM, you got Lion Desk, you got Wise Agent, you got KV Core. Whatever software you use, that's not the important part. You just need to use something to manage your customer relationships. Don't just have them on a piece of paper. Okay? So now step 3 is to assemble a 12-month plan on how you are going to service your database. Again, you're going to assemble a 12-month plan so that you know how you are going to service your database. This is not going to be haphazard. Now, what I want you all to do, I want you to contact or at least touch everybody in your database at least once per quarter. Or what that means is once every 3 months. Once per quarter or once every 3 months. Okay? All right? So what does that mean? That means that everybody in your database are going to be contacted 4 times a year. Okay? Now you can put that into your contact management system or your CRM to let it remind you on your calendar. You can plug it in on your Google Calendar and have it set it in as a reminder, right? I know Buffini Referral Maker CRM, it actually tells us who to contact on a daily basis. Okay. So again, you can just set up, or KV Core also lets you know who to contact. And I'm sure Wise Agent, they have their own way of, or Lion's Desk, those I haven't used much. But again, you can examine those, check those out, check out the one that works best for you. But whatever it is, you need to have it set up so you know who you're going to be calling each day, so you can make sure that each one of them get contacted. So I'm giving an example. So if you have 100 people in your database and you need to contact everybody within 90 days, and you take and divide 90 by 100, it tells you how many people about you need to call a day, right? Within those 90 days. And you do the same thing for the next 90 days and the next 90 days, so that everybody gets contacted at least once per quarter. Okay. All right. So now the second thing you want to do, you want to automate it. Okay. You got to automate it. We are busy people. Actually KV Core, it automatically sends out a message. Sometimes it automatically sends out a text message, right? But did you hear what I said? We need to call them. So if you're going to automate it, then what you want is for it just to remind you to pick up the phone. But don't just send out a text and not call them. Okay? So the text is for you, or your message is for you. Your reminder is for you. That automation needs to be for you to say, okay, Tanya or Barbara or John or, Gerald, whoever, contact blank and blank and blank today, right? And then make sure that you have a spot on your Google Calendar or whatever kind of calendar you use, allowing for you to be able to make these calls each day. Okay? All right? This is about customer relationship. How would you feel if your dentist called you just to see how you're doing and to see if you needed anything? And it wasn't trying to schedule an appointment for you to come in and pay him. No, but just was really taking care of you to see if it was something else you needed. Maybe you needed tissue. Maybe you needed a contact for a project you were working on. How would you feel? If your beautician called you, checking on you. This is what we're doing as real estate agents, is serving them. All right. So put that on your plan. Make this thing a plan of action. All right, everybody, you got your cameras out. Here is the math. I'm going to turn my phone so you can see what step 4 is. Step 4 is follow and have confidence in the math. So I'm going to turn my phone horizontally. All right, so you guys can take a picture of the math. I'm just going to hold my phone straight. Okay, you got a picture? Did you take your picture? Okay, there you go. So that's the math. Well, what is the math? All right, let's explain it to you. So first of all, remember earlier we were talking about the cold leads that come from Zillow, Realtor.com, FSBOs, expires, those kind that don't know you by name. A lot of times you haven't met them. And even if you have met them, they really still don't know you. Okay, that kind. All right, so for every 50 cold prospects that you have in your database, you're going to close one deal. Close meaning your broker get paid, or your broker receives compensation at closing. Okay? And then you will get your portion from the broker. All right? What I'm not talking about today at all is how many times we need to contact somebody, how many appointments we need to have to get, how many leads we need to have. I'm not speaking about that. I'm getting right to the nuts and bolts. If you got 50 people that are cold in your database, you can rest assured that you're going to close 2 deals. One deal, excuse me. If you have 50 people in your database, you're going to close 1 deal. If you got 100 people in your database, you're going to close 2 deals. You see that? So for every 50 in your database, you're going to close 1 deal. So again, if you got 50 people, you're starting to build your database. It's all cold, all filled with Zillow leads, right? And again, some of you all may be very good at converting, right? So there's no need to leave mean comments, okay, about how you're able to convert and how you're able to make your numbers are better than that. I'm making these numbers very conservative so that even the novice can do it, okay? We're making it very conservative, all right? Now, again, if you have 50, I'm going to repeat myself, cold, Zillow, Realtor.com, expireds, FSBO, leads in your database, these are cold if they do not know you by your name, okay? If they do not trust you, believe in you, okay? These are cold, all right? So if you have 50 of these cold ones in your database, then you're going to close 1. If you have 100 cold ones, you're going to close 2. If you have 200 cold ones, you're going to close 4. If you have 300 cold ones in your database, you're going to close 6. If you have 500 closed prospects in your database, you're going to close 10. If you have 1,000 cold prospects in your database, you're going to close 20. If you have 2,000 cold prospects in your database, you're going to close 40. And if you have 5,000 cold Zillow, Realtor.com, expired, FSBO leads in your database, you're going to close that 100 number. You see that? Now, like I said, your numbers could be better. You might be converting your head off, and you might be able to get a better number than that, right? But in terms of minimal conservative work, we want to give conservative numbers so that even the novice can do this. Again, so if you have 5,000 cold leads in your database, but remember, there is work to be done, and we'll talk about that afterwards. But anyway, for right now, if you have 5,000 in your database, you have 100 that will be closed. Again, cold leads. Now, what about the warm leads? Okay, what about the warm leads? Remember, those are the sphere of influence and the past clients and those who know you by your first name, right? All right. So for that number, I use 40. So for every 40 of these warm leads that are in your database, you'll close one transaction. Now, mind you, some of you all do a very good job of converting even your warm referrals, okay? You do a very good job at that. A lot of times we don't have competition when it comes to getting referrals, but sometimes we do, depending on who referred it. If our contractor referred us and he was not the son, and then the son referred their mother to somebody else, then they're going to probably go with the contractor is going to go with the one that their son referred instead of the contractor a lot of the times. Okay, so it really depends on how close that referral is to the actual referral that's being given to us. So that's why I didn't want to use 30. All right, because 30, yeah, you can, for every 30 warm people that you have in your database, you can certainly use that if your relationships are deep and they really know you and you're really close to all of the people in your database that are warm. All right. And all of them trust you. All right. But I'm not going there because we can't always assume that. Okay. So let's use 40 for now. Okay. So for every 40 of these warm leads that are in, again, past clients, people who've used you before, your, as we mentioned, friends, family, neighbors, we talked about service providers. We also talked about people who are your vendor partners. Okay. These ones, again, are a part of the warm family, the warm prospects. So again, so every 40, so if you have 40 of those in your database, you're going to close one deal. Close, meaning, again, your broker gets paid at the title company. He receives a wire into their account, and then your broker pays you. Do not forget that this number does not include the number that you have to split with your broker. Okay? All right, so right now we're just talking about a number or transactions that it takes to close. Okay? Now, so let's go with it. If we got 100 of these warm leads in our database, then we'll close 2.5. If we have 200 of these warm leads in our database, then we'll close 5. If we have 300 of these warm leads in our database, then we'll close 7.5. If we have 500 of these warm leads in our database, then we'll close 12.5. If we have 1,000 of these warm leads in our database, then we will close 25. If we have 2,000 of these warm leads in our database, then we'll close 50. If we have 5,000 of these warm leads in our database, then we will close at least 125. Again, close transactions. So I'm going to repeat the math. For cold leads that you have in your database, if you have all cold ones, or you can go in, if you got half and half, count the cold ones. And then you're going to divide that number that you have that are cold in your database by 50. That's going to tell you how many closed transactions you're going to have that are cold. All right. And then if the other half are warm, you'll take your total up, how many that is, if that's 50 of them, or if that's 100 of them. If it's 100 that you have that are warm, divide that by 40, and it will tell you the number that you're going to be closing of that. Right? So I hope that helps you with the math. Now, I'm going to give you an example on how we can turn the math into dollars. All right? So if we wanted to make 100,000, or if we want to make 1,000,000, we can use the same math. All right? Let's do it. What you want to do, and I'm always talking so that I can include your new agents as well as your experienced agents. Okay, so this math right here, it's dealing with those who maybe want to first hit 100,000, and then there's also going to be math here that's going to be for those who want to hit 1,000,000. Okay, all right, but I'm using a very conservative sell price again because I want to use a number that really affects nationwide, because I'm not sure if this video is going to be seen by people who from the East Coast, West Coast, the central part of the United States of America, but I want it to be able to be a number that everybody can pretty much identify with. All right, so we're going to use the average sales price of 300,000. Okay, now, or whatever your average sales price is, you want to take that number. All right, now once you know what your average sales price is, now you can figure out your average sales price by looking at your last 6 months or your last 12 months of closings. All right, divide that by whatever, so you take your, what you have there, you divide it by your number of closings. Okay, all right, and that will give you what your average sales price is. So you got to total up the whole kit and caboodle of sales volume and divide that sales volume, by what the number of closings, and that will give you what your average sales price will be. Okay, all right, sales volume is your purchase price, right, of or whatever the sales price was on the property, right? So if you sold 5 at 300,000, you take 300,000 multiplied times 5, that gives you your total sales volume. Divide that by the number of closings you have, and again, that will give you your average sales price. That's for the newbies out there. Okay, the second thing in terms of how to turn this into dollars, how to turn this math into dollars. Second thing, then as you got your average sales price, you want to know what your compensation rate is. Now, that's personal with you. I'm just going to throw out there for the newbies an example of a compensation rate that might be, you might see 2%, you might see 2.5%, you might see 3%, you might, whatever that is, right? We're not giving out any compensation rates here. We just giving examples, okay? So you take whatever your compensation rate is, right, and multiply. You multiply your average sales price by your compensation rate. So in this example here, we're using 300,000. We multiply it times 2.5%, and it gives us our average sales price of $7,500. So this is what we're going to get paid, okay? This is what we're getting paid. This is our compensation. Right. So again, we take the average sales price, multiply it times compensation rate, and it gives us our average sales price. In other words, what it is that we, or put it this way, not average sales price, excuse me. It gives our average compensation that we're paid. Okay. All right. That's what we want. So again, average sales price times compensation rate gives us the average price that we're selling the product that we sell or that we make in our area. All right. However you want to say that, right? I say compensation, all right, or my average. Some people still call it your average. It used to be called commission, but it's now called average compensation. Okay, all right. So this is my average compensation that I'm giving here as an example. All right. So we take 300,000 multiplied times commission rate, and it gives you what your average compensation amount is. All right. All right, so if we're using $7,500 as our average compensation, and we decided that we want to make $100,000 for the year, then we take $100,000, divide that by 7,500, which again is the average compensation that we got, and that's going to tell us how many units that we need to close for that year. All right, or how many deals we need to close, how many transactions we need to close. In this case, it's 13.33. So if we want to make $100,000 and our average sales price is $300,000, then we need to close 13.33 deals. If we want to make $1 million, okay, we take $1 million as our sale price divided by, if our average sales price is $300,000 as an example, take $1 million divided by 7,500, and that would tell us that we need to close 133 deals. Okay. All right. That's how that works. All right. So how do we figure out, okay, well, how big does my database need to be? All right. So if I need to close 13.33 deals in order to get $100,000, how big does my database need to be? Okay. So if I have a list of cold leads, what number here is closest to 13? Is this one, 10? So we go over here, we see we have to have at least 500 in our database. And because 13 is larger than 10, then we might want to have, we just kind of go in and figure it out. We want one more closing, add another 40, add another 50 to that, 50, 50, 50. To get this number to add 3 more here, or I'm going to say 4 more here, then we have to say 50 times 4 is 200. So that means that this number, this 500 needs to go to 700. So in order for us to be able to close the 13 or the 14 deals, we need to close 700 we need to have 700 people in our, or cold leads in our database. You see how we just did that? Okay. We have to have 700 in our database using a $300,000 sale price at 2.5% compensation. We have to have 700 cold leads in our database in order to close those 14 deals. And that would give us 100,000, right? But what if our prospects are warm? Okay. Then as we mentioned, we had 13.33 that we needed to be able to close in order to make 100,000, right? Then you see on this list is 12.5 units, right? Is what 500 needs to be in our database, right? But remember, 12.5 is like one closing less than a 13.33. So we need to take 40 again, right? So we need to put that number here, add 40 to 500. So that tells us that we're going to need 540 people in our database in order to be able to close that 13, right? So we need 540 warm leads to be able to close the 13.330/14, right? And that would give us 100,000. You want to run that same math. If you want to close 100, as we talked about earlier, all right? So remember, 5,000 in a database gives us 100 of cold ones. 5,000 in our database of warm leads, we need 100. We'll have 125 closed transactions, right? Remember that? So warm leads 125. We need 5,000 in our database. Cold leads, we need 5,000 in our database, but we're only going to close 100 here. 5,000 in our database, we're going to close 125 here. Okay. All right. And it also depends on your sales price. Okay. So I hope that helps you all. As you can see here, 5,000. If you want to close 100, then boom, 5,000 in the database. And that's on either side. 5,000 in the database of cold leads or 5,000 in the database for warm leads. Either way, you're going to close at least 100 deals. If you only want to do 40, as I mentioned, then you can have 2,000 in your database of cold leads. If you want to do 50, then you have 2,000 in your database for cold leads, right? But if you want to factor out this number, you want to have less, then remember, you take the number in your database. If your number is like 19, you take 19 divided by 40, you're going to be short, right? You're going to be short. It's going to be tough if you only have 19 in your database to be able to close, okay? Because you need at least 40 over here and 50 over here, okay? So I hope that helps you with the math. Now, let's get into step 5. We don't just put them in the database and leave them. We don't just close on them. Okay, now we have closed. That's it. No. We want to service your clients and your database for life. Service your clients and your database for life is step 5. So what does that include? You want to serve them. See that word service? It has the word serve in it. You see that? Has the word serve in it. So you want to serve them both for both real estate needs and non-real estate needs. What does that mean? Well, you want to comfort them when they lose someone in death. You want to congratulate them when they have a wedding anniversary or maybe a graduation ceremony for either them or their children. You want to thank them when they get they also want to say you want to nurture them when they get a new pet. You also want to thank them for services they might provide in the community. Maybe you have people who are your past clients or maybe people in your database. Maybe they're police officers. Maybe they're nurses or firemen and women. Maybe they're teachers. Take the time to thank them. You see, don't let your conversations be, when are you planning on moving? No. See what you can do to help. See what they got any projects going on in the house. Maybe there's someone whom you can refer to them, right? It doesn't always have to be real estate oriented. Just be there for them when they need you, when that transition is in life, when their house gets too big or too small for them. Be there for them when they have needs, when they feel sad, when they feel happy. Congratulate them, work with them throughout whatever problem that they're having. Maybe they just need to talk with you about something and need you to solve a problem for them. But we want to service them for life. You also want to be their go-to person for anything that they might need. Maybe they'll need an electrician. Maybe they'll need a plumber. Maybe they'll need an HVAC person. You should be the person that they pick up the phone and call. Okay? All right. So those are the 5 steps that lead to making 100 or closing 100 units within 12 months. Those are the 5 steps of closing 100 units in 12 months using the simple math. Did you get it? Did you take a picture of it? Did you give it a snapshot? Well, if you have any questions, do comment down below. I also have an area there if you need to schedule an appointment with me. I have a Calendly that's in the system as well. You can schedule an appointment with me for a 30-minute consultation if you have questions about anything. We're in this together. I'm here for you. But remember, if you want content where you can have more life lessons learned, where we reward our struggles and we celebrate our wins, then click on that subscribe button and click on that bell and click on that next video that we have there that YouTube wants you to see. And we will see you next time.